So I'm going to post one last morning session for Coffee with Mom. Um, Now I'm 53 years old this year. I feel like I lived long enough on this earth that I could kind of have some input. I've been through life. I've experienced it. I've been married twice. Went through a divorce once. Um, and life is hard. Life is hard. Um, no relationship is really ever guaranteed. And I think my takeaway from my life experience is I look back and I see mistakes that I made in my first marriage. Now I'm in my second marriage where I've been with Steve God for over 20 some years now at this point. Um, and when I came into this marriage, regardless of how the marriage and a relationship started, it's neither here nor there. In the point I'm trying to make, I think whenever you're in a relationship and you're building something, um, really the foundation is the biggest part of a strong, long lasting relationship. And I really feel like in my first marriage, um, I did not have a strong foundation. We did not at all. And I think over the years, we were married 12 years, and I think over that time, um, because we didn't have a strong foundation, that was a big part of why the marriage failed. Um, I look back now and I can see all the mistakes that we both made on both of our parts. But I'm grateful that I was married for that time, and I'm grateful for the two wonderful children that came from that marriage. But I wrote something back on December 8th, 2016, about the younger generation. Now, granted, this is just my view. I'm not forcing it on anybody. It's just my 2 cents. I have it saved on my computer. And here's just what I wanted to say. And I hope my boys can reflect on this and remember with any relationship, the foundation is the most important part. So, a note to this younger generation from an old timer who has 53 years of life experience under her belt. As I watch the younger generations in my family start to venture onto their own new paths in life with their partners, I have to say I don't see much working on the foundation of the relationship. When you find a life partner and you begin this new venture, think of it like building a house. The most important part of building a house is a strong foundation, one that can withstand any storm or natural disaster. That is your relationship. You must sit down, work out what your life goals are, make a plan on how to achieve them, who's handling the money, and who's going to rule the roost. If you don't come together on a shared vision, mission, you will end up having the same stupid little arguments for the next 20 plus years. Building a strong foundation with no areas of weakness. The foundation is the safe place. Then you prepare to build the rest of the house. You take it room by room, meaning take it 1 year at a time. The first couple of years in a relationship are the hardest. Remember, you don't rush building a house. Every detail is discussed, every board, light, cabinet, etc. In life, you discuss things with your partner. Remember, a house is not a home. The people in the house make it a home. So as these youngins in my family all start their new ventures in life with their life partners, remember these important tips. There is no I in team. A relationship, a marriage is all about teamwork. If you make the team strong, it can never fail. You lift each other up when the other one needs it. You share all responsibilities. Yes, all. Even like laundry, cleaning the bathroom, cleaning the toilet, doing the grocery shopping, paying the bills. And you don't watch your kids or babysit your kids. They're your kids. They are yours. You're not babysitting. You're not watching them. It's your responsibility. Just so you know. Um, so sharing all those responsibilities, I lost my place for a minute. This isn't 1950, and the women Women isn't expected to do everything. Your partner is your teammate. Respect their opinion, their views and values, and you don't have to agree on all things. Learn to compromise, pick your battles, don't sweat the small stuff, and never go to bed angry. My mom always said that. Never go to bed angry. You never know. You could die through the night. So never go to bed angry. Build a strong foundation. Date your spouse, partner. Yes, go on dates. Even if you're going to run an errand or going to dinner or a quick lunch, you need to date your spouse. And it's important to always make time for that. That's when you build upon the relationship and keep it strong. Really, this whole younger generation, I call them the me generation. They really are very self-serving. They only really have their own needs that they focus on, self-satisfaction. I recently read an article. I'm reading something that I also posted on Facebook. I read an article from a professor who went on about this entitled generation. Yes, this younger generation, they are entitled. And you know what, us parents, we are at fault. We're part of the problem, actually. We maybe babied them too much. I know I babied my boys way too much. So I hope they find women that are going to baby them. But he talks about the entitled generation, and it had a lot of good points. When I was in my early 20s, we had an apartment and saving for our first home while starting a family. We drove beater cars. I mean, some of the cars that we had were hand-me-downs. They got us from point A to B. I remember coming home from having Dylan at the hospital. We needed another car, and we stopped at a used car lot, and we bought a little red station wagon beater for Brian, my first husband. I think we paid $800 for it, and we were like, man, if we could get a year out of this car, that'd be great, because we couldn't afford another car payment or anything like that. I mean, when we were first married, we were making like $7.25 an hour, $6.25 an hour. I don't even know. We could barely make it with both of us working. And honestly, that car got us through, I think, like 6 years. We had it like forever, and then it finally died. But I look at this, and our focus really at that time was raising our children. We didn't get to go out and do all the kind of stuff that this younger generation is doing. You know, you're back then. You got married. You had kids. You're raising your kids. You're working hard. You're trying to make ends meet. You're sacrificing. There wasn't money extra to do any other self-serving things. Like, I don't ever remember having even extra money to get my nails done or anything like that. Not that I even do that. I'm not even worried about that. But you look at the younger generation now, and so many of them are all about me. Their self-satisfaction is what keeps them hostage. A material item that brings them so much anticipation and satisfaction doesn't really mean shit. It doesn't, really. It's a material thing. It means nothing. That twisted admiration should be focused on building a foundation for a future. If their focus isn't on building a foundation, they will get nowhere. I know a few couples who get it and are building their foundation. I see a couple of younger kids in my family who are getting married, they're buying their houses, their first homes, they're starting their life, they're building their foundation. It's pretty strong. They're working hard and trying to build a life. And, you know, kudos to them. They have solid foundations, they found their own place, and their kids are getting the best of them. I see young couples struggling and not making it because of their self-satisfaction. They will not make it. Self-satisfaction robs you of relationships, family, and a future. That's just my opinion. Really, if you're in a relationship and you are 3-4 years into your relationship and you're not any further in meeting what you thought you were going to do as a life, building a life, say you're still stuck in that same spot and you're doing the same thing, you're never going to have a different result. If you do the same thing every day, you're going to get the same result. If you're blowing your money on stupid shit like eating out and buying yourself things that you really don't need, you're never going to have that money put away to get to the next level, to buy a house or have anything. Really, in life, you got to work hard for what you want. you got to work hard. You got to build that life. And you got to make sacrifices. I mean, I can tell you when my husband and I were growing up, especially with Steve and I, growing up with the kids and building a life, those younger years when those kids were little, there was no extra money. There was no spare money. I mean, I remember going on vacations, especially the first year we went to the Outer Banks. We packed a cooler everywhere we went on a day trip. We literally packed sandwiches and drinks. We cut every corner. We saved money. I remember the first time that we went to Disney. We went on a great deal that they had. It took us quite a while to get everything paid off before we went. I literally put $100 gift cards away for when we went. We literally went with like I think $200 cash, and then I had gift cards for meals. I had the little tip envelopes for the maids all made out already. We did our big meal at lunch. We actually ordered groceries online and had them delivered to our resort. I mean, we cut every corner possible. I know when Steve and I grew up, I mean, my husband sacrificed sometimes. He sold guns when we were tight with money. He sold his Snap-on toolbox one time when we were tight with money. We sacrificed a lot. My kids never saw any of that. I mean, they weren't even probably even aware of what we gave up, sacrificed, what we had to sell at times to make ends meet. Thankfully, we had our parents at the time who helped us out a few times when we needed it. But that's what you do as a parent. You know, even now, I mean, we help our kids still to this day, and we will always help them if they need help. They know we're a phone call away. But I think for the younger generation, this entitled generation, they need to learn that life is not fair. You don't all get a trophy, especially in your adult life. Working in a job that you don't like, it totally sucks. It makes for a long day. It mentally and physically exhausts you. And you got to be very careful not to carry over that negativity from your work life into your home life. It's very important to have a work-life balance. That, to me, is very important. There were times when my kids were growing up, I gave up a good job. I walked away from a good job that I had been at for several years because my kid needed my full focus on him while he was getting through something. I don't regret it at all. I have walked away from jobs to take care of my kids. Took a few times where I left a job and stayed home and raised my kids for a few years here and there when they needed that extra attention. But that's what you do. I don't think this new, younger, entitled generation truly knows about what it is to sacrifice or worry about where that next penny is coming from. And I'm guilty. I'm just as guilty with my children. When they need something, there's never a time when they have a need that we don't meet if they need it met. Even though they're grown up and they've moved on and they're like making their own lives, they know that if they're in a tough spot and they need help, Mom and Steve are going to help them out. Really, my analogy in life is you can save all the money in the world and have it in the bank. You can't take it with you when you go. When you die, it's not like they're putting your money in your casket with you. You would have worked over your whole life and had nothing really to show for it. Yeah, you build a life, and when you get old and you die, that life that you built gets dissected. The kids usually will get rid of your stuff. Maybe they'll sell your home. You know, they may not even want our stuff, you know, who knows? I don't know. I have a lot of antiques. I'm hoping they'll keep them. I have some family heirlooms that have been passed down. I hope they keep them. But really, they have their own lives at that point. So you work hard your whole life, you build a life, and then at the end, your life gets dissected. So make each day count, live in the moment, enjoy life, have a good work-life balance, and really focus on building a life with your partner. Steve and I, we have a rule, anything over $100 that we want to purchase, we need to have a conversation. I mean, sometimes I've used a coupon code. just to get it under that $100 so I don't have to ask them for approval. I always find a way around it. But for the most part, if it's over $100, we do reach out and contact each other, and we have a discussion before the item is purchased. You do what works for your relationship. Every relationship is different. Some people pull their money together. Other people don't pull their money together. They keep their accounts separate. But ultimately, I guess my main point of this video is for my children. If you are building a relationship with someone and you're building a life with someone, you need to have a clear, defined plan, vision, a goal that you're working toward, and work towards it together. If you're going to be self-serving and you're only going to meet your own needs, you're never going to grow in that relationship. You're never going to get that satisfaction out of that relationship. Sure, self-gratification is nice. It feels great to spoil yourself. But ultimately, if it's not benefiting your partner or your family, it shouldn't be happening, really. Everything you do from the point of you're in a relationship or you have kids or a family, everything you do should be for the good of your family and your children. And if it's not, it's self-serving and really should not be happening. So that's just my take on it. People may agree, people may not agree. Everybody has their own opinion. I'm old now. I think I have a right to say how I feel. And that's just how I feel. So really, you should be working together to make a life. That's just how I feel.